Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Serial Gaming here. So before we get into Cid Raines FR and BT, I just want to get a quick look on the upcoming Pandemonium Spiritus ticket mission, which is, as you can see here, Fist, Staff, Unique will be the weapon of choice, and Crystal will be green, yellow, and white. Or yellow and white. Remember, all this condition is the or, not the N. And the last part, the series is Final Fantasy II, Final Fantasy X, and Final Fantasy XIII. So these are the units that are listed here that fulfills all of these three conditions. So if you want to finish this stage with one particular team, then all this unit is the one that you'll be looking at. It's kind of hard, to be honest, if you want to go for a one team all kill like the one we did on Spiritus Brother with Tifa. This one is slightly more challenging given that the fact we don't have a lot of units that have FR board at this current moment with our current roster. Braska is probably your supercharger if you bring him, your FR battery, since Yuna still doesn't have her kit. Otherwise, Yuna, Cid Raine, and Snow will be a really good choice here. Personally, I think I might run that, but we'll see, because Yuna's not having FR Echo, FR board means that it will take some time to charge the FR gauge up. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, going into Cid Raine right now. Cid Raine is basically another single target damage dealer. He does have some AoE capability with his EX and his skill 1, but let's face it, most of the time Cid Raine, the damage is very single target focused with his launchers, his follow-up and everything. So yeah, like I said before, he's a very strong single target damage dealer. He's arguably on par with Tifa's in terms of their damage output. So yeah, it's like a magical Tifa with a lot of guaranteed launches. Anyway, Cid Raine usual kit is already really good. The only problem he always has before is that he doesn't have a fast turn rate. So unless you're running a turn warping unit like Arma or Ram, then otherwise Cid Raine is just not going to produce a high effective damage output constantly. But right now with his BT, that is fixed because you can just turn warp all 7 turns in the BT phase. Okay, so the idea behind Cid Raine is that he launches constantly for every skill he presses, and he has turn warping capability with his skill 2 and his LD, as well as his FR, which is not exactly the best thing. And he has actually a very high selfish fulfill FR condition, plus 100% during synergy, which is really high for a unit that does so much damage. There is, however, some issues that I think Cid Raine does have with his kit. The first very good example is that he has a very short BT effect, which lasted for only 6 turns. So it's a rather awkward and clunky effect for you to play in this situation. I'll give an example. If you're going to activate his BT plus before his FR, before using his FR, then it's great. You're going to fully maximize his FR effect. But the problem is, because you do that, and if you enter his BT phase right after him using his FR, which means that you'll get a 8-turn FR left, and then you're entering his BT phase with 5-turn BT effect. So the last turn that he gets in his BT phase will not be very damaging as compared to what he get prior to that turn. And for your last damage, which is the BT finisher, you will not gain a lot of HP damage bonus up. In fact, you only gain 3 or 5%, depends on whether or not you're in synergy, because it totally doesn't fulfill any of his condition. So that is if you activate his BT prior to his FR. What if you activate after? If you activate his BT effect right after his FR, it means that you're going to sacrifice 1 turn, gaining only 3% to 5%, but you're still able to enter the BT phase later with 7 turns and 6 turns BT effect. So that is probably the better strategy in my opinion to go for. Regardless with this short BT effect awkward play, Cid Raine still produces a lot of damage because of the selfish condition that he has, which plus 100%, like I said before. This kind of fixes his issue where if he doesn't gain if he wastes one particular turn of his force time with the BT plus, it's not really a huge issue. But another issue about Cid Raine is his FR warps the party in, regardless of not whether you're in Lunar Freya's effect. Like normally, if you're having Lunar Freya effect, you would thought that his warp would come after his 4 turns, but it doesn't appear to be that way for Cid Raine. So the party will comes in, and since Cid Raines, if you use Cid Raines before, if you use his launches on one particular target with his EX, his skill 1, or his FR, or his LD, the other target will become launchable, so that's great. But if you're running a single target boss fight, like the one we're having in Brother Spiritus, for example, then units like Selfie is definitely very important for you to keep up with that HP damage bonus up, since you want them to be able to launch the enemy. And of course, if you're not running Selfie, then you're looking at other launchers such as, for example, Cloud, Dark Knight Sassel, Kais, all these are prime examples. But anyway, it's not really the best strategy. Selfie is still the best way to go for Cid Raine. And of course, if you're going into unlaunchable stage, Cid Raine is basically going to be really useless there, so don't even try. And lastly, like I said in here, if you're facing a fast enemy, it might hinder you to produce a full launches, which again will affect Cid Raine's entire HP damage bonus up. But luckily, Cid Raine actually get his FR Echo rather early, and his Echo actually fixed most of his problem. So for example, you don't mind the allies taking turn. In fact, sometimes you even want them to take turns before Cid Raine use his BT, since they can use their echoes to boost Cid Raine's attack. So like I said, FR Echo, I think it actually fixed Cid Raine's problems a lot more than I expected it to be. So, and his echoes also actually produce the selfie-like effect to the entire party, where everyone gets to launch the enemy regardless of whether or not their attack consists of launches. So yeah, that is actually really good later down the line. But anyway, going into his FR, as you can see here, it's rather direct. Everything comes with launching the enemy. If you're Cid Raine, you gain an extra 10%. If you're not, then yeah. But Cid Raine's actually gain an extra 30% because he also joins the chain attack that he does. So a full launch from allies will produce 60%, and a full launch from Cid Raine will produce 90%. Alright, so the synergy part is pretty simple. For a huge damage setup, Lunafray is still the best, because even if you have to use his FR to warp the allies in, and then 2 allies taking the turn, and then you can have Cid Raines using his BT plus and then going into his BT exactly at 7 turns. So yeah, it's pretty simple. And constant launches, like I said before, Selfie, Kais, Cloud, all these are example. And actually you can run a unique part with Kain and Freya, because when they are in the air, Cid Raine's warp doesn't affect them. So this can actually allow Cid Raine to turn hawk more, especially if you remove the speed passive from all these characters. But also do note that by having Kain and Freya, you might want to delay the enemy more often, since they self-delay, you might not have them participate in the launch itself. So yeah, let's take note of that. Anyway, in my opinion, Cid Raine is still a very strong unit, but he'll be a lot stronger later with his Echo. So if you plan to skip him now, it's perfectly fine, especially if you have Tifa and Van. But during his Echo, I highly recommend to pick him up for that, because he's just really good later down the line with the turn warping mechanism to ensure that mechanics that you can ignore is just too good. Personally, I'm not too sure though, because I already have Van and Tifa's FR in my main account. My odds will get him for sure, but I don't know about my main though. I do have enough resources to max him up. And looking into the future characters BT, I might be tempted to skip a lot of upcoming units, so I think I might be able to pull him here, but I don't know, I just don't see myself using him as often until his Echo comes. So yeah, probably just throw a little bit resources in it and see my luck. Anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Do let me know down in the comments what your plan for the character is, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.